My projects are my babies, and no parent can say they have a favorite baby. Although let's be honest, they all do. My favorite project baby is the Megalith, my liquid-cooled gaming and video editing rig that I made an adorable tiny version of in a past episode. I put my heart and soul into every detail of this rig, and I use it every day to build my projects, run my channel, really the basis of my entire... Today on Voidstar Lab, we're building a new PC. Ladies, gentlemen, and cyborgs, today is a dark day. I finished a stream, I took a poop, and while I was logging on, one of the Megalith's liquid cooling tubes softened up and it wiggled loose. Coolant sprayed, chips boiled, and my ability to make media, build projects, and murder virtual sausages vanished in one fell squirt. It was not a total loss. The juicy jet missed my graphics cards, and my awful cable management shielded the hard drives and PSU from the worst of the moist fountain. The motherboard is sketch, the CPU is sus, and I trashed the case while stripping out all of the dripping parts. There's no time to sit Shiva. I've got live streams every Monday and Friday, like, comment, and subscribe, so I gotta rebuild my rig, build a cooling loop, and hack in that Voidstar funk now, if not sooner. But that's nuts. You can't just get in your car and drive to a one-stop shop that sells PC parts and maker materials 7 days a week. Like, if you could, they would have sponsored me by now. This episode is sponsored by Micro Center, your one-stop shop to get PC parts and maker materials 7 days a week. Senpai noticed me, and here we are at their Denver store to grab some parts and rebuild the Megalith. Senpai did not pay me in advance, so our budget for this build is whatever is left in the Patreon parts fund. Brooke, how many people are supporting the channel anyways? Well, hello! I didn't see you there. The Megalith overheated because I couldn't keep it clean. The case was just too small, it was too cramped, and it was too much work to take care of it. This is what we should have done in the first place. Used a case like this Lianli 011D, which has lots of room and it's super easy to open up for maintenance. Remember, the easier it is to clean, the more likely I'll actually do it, and the higher chance of averting the next indoor tsunami. Excuse me, does this come in a more obnoxious color? The Megalith used an Intel i7700, but for version 2 Electric Boogaloo, we're going with the AMD Ryzen 9 3950X. It's got 16 cores of horsepower we need to cut video, run streams, all with 3D slicers, CAD programs, IDEs, and a quadrillion browser tabs open in the background. Motherboards can feel a little overwhelming, but really all you need to do is first pick the processor you want, then filter by the features you need. In this case, we wanted some M2 slots, fast Ethernet, built-in Bluetooth, and like 12 USB ports because what? I like stuff. It's what I do. I'm in the stuff business. This guy right here, the X570E, is basically the same as this Crosshair 8 Dark Hero, except without the $400 Rebel Protagonist Premium. I caught one big break in this whole fiasco. The graphics cards survived. This was really lucky because this is Micro Center's entire inventory of graphics cards. There's a little bit of a shortage going on right now, and the store is on a first come, first serve, first thing in the morning basis. If I had to wake up at 4 a.m. and stand in line for a chance to buy a $1,500 graphics card, I would burn Voidstar Lab to the ground and go cottagecore. I got my pair of 1080 Ti's on release day, and honestly, they still kind of slap. I actually bought them to mine crypto whenever the apartment in New York got cold. It's an 850 watt space heater that prints money. My brain is so wrinkly, it's like a pug. PC coolant has dielectric additives that resist shorts at low voltage, but the Megalith was lit with cold cathode fluorescent lights. CCFLs run at 600 volts AC, so the moment the juice got loose, our Case Cosmetics pulled a Michael Reeves. Micro Center doesn't even sell fluorescent tubes anymore, and I think the time has come to admit defeat and finally sell my soul to the RGB devil. Addressable RGB LED products, which I'm going to call ergobleds from now on to piss you off, are baloney. Baloney, I say. Asus Aura, Corsair Link Razor Chroma, EKWB Quantum, MSI Mystic Light, and ASRock Polychrome. These cringe-tastic brand names aren't just intercompatible, they're literally identical because they're baloney. All of these products are just WS2812B LEDs, which you may already know as NeoPixels, the easy-to-use LED strips that Burning Man is basically made of. Instead of dropping $50 for 45 centimeters of Corsair LS100 smart lighting strips, I just bought the entire 5-meter reel of NeoPixels for $40 in this exact same store because they're the exact same thing. You don't even need to buy a motherboard with ergobled headers either. Like, you could just hook all of your case lighting, your fans and everything up to a microcontroller. Although it would have to be rather teensy? I don't have time for that. I wasted all my time 3D printing the Voidstar logo and filling it with NeoPixels. Now this project is a business expense. I built the Megalith for gaming, not media production, and even though I used some rather expensive and well-reviewed Corsair fans, the machine sounded like a flock of geese getting mulched by a jet engine. As anyone who has been to a New York Rangers game will tell you, performance doesn't count for anything if the fans are loud, especially if they're hammered on brown bag tall boys. I had to turn the fans down because they were so loud they were coming through on stream and annoying the viewers. That allowed the coolant to warm to 60 degrees Celsius, which was enough to soften the tubes and let one of them wiggle its way free. I looked over every RGB fan here to find the right combination of pitch and power, but I was not impressed. And honestly, I wasn't too satisfied with any of the non-RGB fans either. I ended up having to use the internet. I settled on Noctua Redux fans. They're strong, they're quiet, and unlike Noctua's other offerings, they are not an unnervingly appetizing shade of chocolate brown. I got a little carried away and decided to upgrade the pump too. Not only was the pump from the Megalith a bit of an older model and also itself quite loud, but I also kind of allegedly destroyed a pump and reservoir from the liquid cooled oscilloscope on stream, and I needed a new one. Once you put a single RGB LED in your build, that's it. It's over. I'm addicted. Gotta get those rainbows, man. Gotta taste the rainbow. Hey, quit looking at this. Spoiler alert. If you are planning on building your own PC, or if you're just curious about mine, I recreated today's project in Micro Center's custom PC builder, and I'd link that in the description. The PC builder knows what's in stock at your local store, it filters for compatible parts, and it even generates a store map to tell you exactly where to find everything. The best part is you don't have to wait for shipping. Micro Center will pull the parts off the shelves for free, so you can just grab your order in 20 minutes with a bare minimum of human interaction. The bestest part is, if you add their same-day pro assembly service, Micro Center's trained technicians will build your rig on the spot so you can pick it up and use it that very day. If you do find yourself in the store, make sure you check the other link in the description for a free pair of Bluetooth headphones, no purchase required. Brooke just bought a pair of headphones. Sucks to be you, Brooke. We got everything we need, so let's head back to the lab and make this happen. I forgot a couple things, but I promise this is everything we need. Let's hit the road. I don't even remember why we came in here in the first place.
We need water cooling stuff.
What is up, Voidstar family? It's your boy Zack back at it again with another unboxing haul content style video experience. Punch that subscribe button in the face, crush that notification bell between your thighs, live streams every Monday, every Friday, and Voidling Nation. Do you throw the bath bomb into the bath before or after you get in? Let me know in the comment section down below. This part of the video can get away with being low effort because this part of the project is low effort. After we've figured out what parts we need and we've bought them, the easiest part is to just build the computer. Step 0 is to test fit the motherboard, GPUs, fans, and all the other big bulky components. This will let us plan out our cable routing, determine what order to install the parts, and discover what screws and other doodads we're missing. Remember, every time I install something, it's going to block the area behind it. Take a look at this fugly pump bracket too. I had to whack together a temporary model using Tinkercad on Brooke's PC so I can mount the pump finish my new computer, design a better bracket with big boy CAD on the new computer, and swap it out. That's why my hair's so curly, it's because my brain is so wrinkly under it. So why angle the reservoir? Well, it was a good use of space, it makes the system easier to fill and drain, and the angle breaks up vortices, which keeps air bubbles from getting sucked into the pump and making a loud noise. I'd like to shout out EKWB, the company that makes these pimptastic radiators, this pump, these water blocks. They're my favorite liquid cooling company because I am just a huge sucker for precision German engineering.
You're not German.
For precision Slovenian engineering. It's easier to prep the motherboard outside the case, and you don't really need to worry about static electricity damaging anything unless you're a carpet sock shuffling, hair balloon rubbing Van de Graaff Nimrod. I transferred my NVMe drives from the Megalith's Mobo to their new forever home, and while I had that cosmetic panel removed, I popped off the heatsink from the power supply area voltage thing on the motherboard because I'm going to be covering that up soon with a water block. Next, I unboxed this giant block of black foam, which comes with a free sticker, and also a CPU. I gently mashed the single most expensive chip I've ever owned into its socket, oodles of bricks as I lock it in, and apply about 5 milliverges of thermal paste. The time has come to peel our first protective film. Oof. Let's mount that, let's mount that water block. This is called a monoblock cooler. It chills the CPU as well as the surrounding electronics, and you bet your sweet cheeks it's studded with ergobleds. I love you, patrons. Let's ram in the RAM and let's slam in that Mobo. Gently, gently. It was very expensive. I installed a bracket that should keep the graphics cards from sagging like your mom's hanging plants. I locked those bad boys down, and then I got to work installing the fan's radiators. This is why you should buy an extra thick case. It's really easy to underestimate how big your parts are and how much space you're going to need to tuck all those cables in there. Note the cable combs that neatly spread apart the conductors and accentuate the individually triple wrapped wires. These are really easy to 3D print in any color to complement your case, and, like a bow tie, make a bold statement about your class and taste. Also, like a bow tie, you can save a lot of money and effort by getting a clip-on that connects to your ugly cheapo cables as soon as it's out of sight. You saw nothing. There was no poor cable management in Bossing Say. The time has come to bend some tubing, and this time, we're doing it right. There's no gizmo that does this, by the way. I am the bender, so it's time to get in character. PETG tubing is the same stuff as PETG filament, and the same properties that make the filament like to sag also make the tubing malleable and forgiving. To prevent a Megalith-style meltdown, all the fittings are going to point upwards or sideways, so gravity can't yank a tube directly out of its fitting this time. Gravity can kiss my shiny metal ass. Let's prime the pump with distilled water, let's jam a paperclip in the ATX cable, and let's run the loop overnight to highlight any leaks. We want the leaks to happen before we power up any of the parts. But the next afternoon, we're as dry as Ben Shapiro's wife, so let's wire it up and fire it up. Without any RGB fans, there aren't any ergobleds pointed directly at you. Every color reflects and diffuses off the parts, creating this moody, edge-lit aesthetic that reminds me of a certain wallpaper that only 90s kids will remember. As my first crush said way back when, "Who are you and why are you hiding in my refrigerator?" There's just one thing left to do: peel the protective film. Prepare yourself for satisfaction. Oh yeah. This big rig is ready to roll. We're packing a Ryzen 3950X, twin 1080 Ti's, 64 gigs of RAM, a crispy new EKWB hardline loop, and heaping helpings of red, green, and blue. It's quiet enough for live streams, it's powerful enough to cut 4K, it's more colorful than a unicorn with food poisoning, and it is stacked to the gills with enough graphical chutzpah to run nearly any game and eat it for lunch. What do you say we pick one, crank up the graphics, and see what this beast can really do? I named my revamped PC the Megalith because the Japanese prefix O signifies that something is honorable or serious. And just look how serious this thing is. The Megalith is survived by its only child, the Coccolith, And I guess that means I now need to make a mini Megalith in the future. I've got a high-powered latte panda for the occasion. But for now, the Megalith project has reached its end, and the finality of its name represents the very reason why I make these videos, to inspire you to finish your projects. Big thanks to Micro Center for sponsoring this episode. It finally happened. We finally got the Micro Center sponsorship, and they made Brooke and I feel like we were big-time celebrities. Check the link in the description to see the Megalith specs and maybe even grab some of the parts in their custom PC builder. And while you're down there, clip that coupon for a free pair of Bluetooth wireless headphones. But what you saw today couldn't have happened without our stalwart patrons whose support let me turn the channel's roughest emergency to date into a major upgrade. If you'd like to join their ranks, visit patreon.com/Zack Freedman. Special thanks to our magnificent collaborators, CMD or Command Wexo, Chuck Fadouk Smaldong, I'm Not Bedicor, and introducing, with the straightest possible face, Jeremy Arnold's Schweddy Vag. I've tucked their names into this episode. Who knows where they may be? The part you've been waiting for, our creatively named lab assistant supporters. In pseudo-random order, these fine folks include my Yiddish mama, Chrome Runner, C. Harris, Philip, Azundo, E. Punman, Damn Near Rector, Taranak, Powerful CCH, Nino Gansitano, Bill Schooler, the world's greatest drone pilot, Bot Grinder FPV, Verka, Andrew Patton, my dog is a bear. I don't know why I feel the need to say that with a Russian accent. SXP, Acalia, I Lost My Pants, Zack, Period Klotz, ew. Dr. Regal Talon, aka Talon Sanders, Michael Roche, Bob Dobbington, Trans Rights, BLM and Friends, Lydia K, Frantic Fanatic, Michael Dunn, Nathan, Mark Whittington, Robert Breeze, Jason Llewellyn, Daniel Cadwell, Classy Bone, the 76th Music Man, Olivier Yiptong, Guy Gasm, Rusty Flute, Victor Vaughn, Brad Cox, Roger Pincombe, Sir Derpington of Derptopia. Protagonist, The Antifa, One Handful of Beans, silly patron name, Xanforian, good suck. Jay, Joe Harp, and last but not least, Reagan says I hit someone with my electric car and I was charged with battery. Brooke is dying laughing right now. Special thanks to Brooke, the thin pink line between stream chat and a war zone, and to our Discord mods, Techniac and My Fair Julie. Something has been interfering with Billy's ability to moderate. She said it was some kind of job, and she asked that I remove her from this list, but I do what I want. Finally, thank you for watching, and I hope you'll join our streams every Monday and Friday, which maybe next episode I will vlog a little bit less. May your frame rates be high, may your temperatures stay low, and may your seeing me be in the future. Memory, all alone in the moonlight. I don't know any lyrics past this point.